now we are happy to be joined in studio by Ronit Treatman, a Jewish author, writer, and journalist who herself discovered a branch of her family that come from Spain, and some of whom are actually among the original inhabitants of Recife, Brazil, who Michael just talked about. Hello, my dear, and welcome to the studio.
Good morning.
So your story is very interesting. Your father, an Israeli diplomat, you grew up in Ethiopia and mainly in Venezuela, going, being not identifying at all as Sephardic, but going to Catholic and international schools. Were you aware of the story of the Sephardim in South America and the crypto-Jewish descendants?
Not really. We had, when we lived in Caracas, half of the community was Ashkenazic, the other half was Sephardic, and my Sephardic friends were the ones who first told me as a kid about the expulsion of Spain that the family had gone through. And what they said was, there is nothing Jewish left in Iberia, absolutely nothing. That was the end of it. And that's what I believed for a very long time.
But you look back and you realize you had a lot of friends, like a family, the Tudela family, and we have, Tudela was a famous explorer in the 12th century. Was there a connection or a link or anything then, and how is that carried over to now? Because you still have relationships with them.
I was at the house of a friend of mine. Her last name was Tudela, which is a city in Spain, and it was a very Catholic home. They had crucifixes on the wall, very traditional Venezuelan Catholic home. And when I met her dad, he found out I was from Israel. He was very excited. He said, "Oh, we were Jews once." And I started laughing. I thought he was joking around. I mean, come on, you have crosses all over the place. And then he said, no, really, we were Jews before the expulsion, and then we were forced to convert. And then he told me that in the 80s, he even went on a trip to Israel, not as a Catholic visitor, but he wanted to see who he could have been. And he knew about Metudela Street in Jerusalem, in Rehavia, and he went there especially to see it. And that really left an impression on me, that whole idea of who would we have been if this hadn't been done to us? And it's come up over and over again later in my later work.
Wow, amazing. Explain your own discovery of your family. You always thought were Ashkenazi, and yourself through DNA found out that your family came from Spain. Explain.
Right, so in 2012, I was able to take a DNA test. They had become more accessible, more affordable. So I took the test with this company called GeneBase, which was working with National Geographic. And what I discovered was to get my map of everywhere my family has been. And they needed a brother and a sister to take the test so that we could get both sides of the family. So my brother and I took the test, and we got our whole map, and some of it was exactly what we expected. The paternal side was all from Bukhara. The maternal side, I thought had been in Poland for hundreds of years, and then they showed a surprise that right before Poland, they had been in Spain, which nobody was expecting. And I thought, well, this was supposed to be the Ashkenazi side of the family. What are we doing in Spain? Not only Spain, it gave me the name of a city, Girona, and it showed something even more surprising than that, which was right around the time of the expulsion, it shows the side I descend from, going to Italy, the Netherlands, and then Poland. And then it shows that the family had split in half. That side went north, the other side goes straight to Brazil. And I looked at that and I thought, oh, well, from what I know about the history of the Inquisition, this meant these people were probably forced to convert and then went to Brazil, which most likely happened when Spain and Portugal were one empire, when the children of both sides were married to each other.
I want to get to your book, Hands on Jewish Holidays. He's also since written a book kind of as a way of kind of bringing to life the cuisine and the culture, of reaching, people not just English speakers.
Right. Well, this book was born, first of all, it's good for anyone who doesn't necessarily come with previous knowledge of Judaism. And it was born of my own experience of raising my own children, feeling that responsibility that I have to transmit Judaism to them and feeling very unprepared. And in a way, so I talk about all the holidays, all the traditions and songs and recipes, but it does follow a long tradition of the crypto-Jewish world, where if you look at, they went to Ferrara, Venice, other cities. What did they do? They set up printing presses to publish books about the traditions and holidays and customs, and that is, I'm just using a new platform. I publish it myself on Amazon so that it would be accessible and practically free, as a mitzvah for them, and I have it in Spanish. My Portuguese translator descended from Branca Diaz, who herself set up the first synagogue and school in Brazil and was burned at the stake in Portugal for doing so.
Wow.
The Inquisition ended up chasing.
Well, it's such a mitzvah you're doing it, because we know from the story it was women who kept the traditions in the home through, you know, the candles and the food and all of that. So insightful, and thank you so much for shedding light on this huge, huge topic that is only going to continue to unfold as time goes on. Thank you so much.
Thank you.